Today's sponsor is Audible.com, a leading provider of spoken audio information and entertainment. Listen to audiobooks wherever and whenever you want. And P&P Games, your online source for everything video games. Visit their website at pnpgames.com or at one of their 3 retail locations in Winnipeg, Manitoba. Alrighty, everybody, and welcome to the Touch of Gaming podcast. This is episode number 149. We're recording this on a weird day. We're recording it on a Wednesday, the 18th of September. Not our normal Thursday, because it's hockey season, and I got free tickets to go to a game. And as much as I like doing a podcast on Thursday, which I love, I don't want to turn away $200 worth of hockey tickets to not go. So apologies to everybody that is showing up on Thursday. I'll post a note, of course, so no one shows up that doesn't already know. But it's nice to see people come out today anyway. Yeah, Jared, how are you doing, man? Looks like you're playing a game right now. You're not listening to me. You're just intently staring at your iPhone or your iPod Touch.
Were you saying something?
No, we didn't start the show. I'm going to actually hang up on Skype, and I'll call you back in about 30 minutes or so.
I'm sending pickles to Kiev.
Is that a euphemism for something?
Kind of sounds like it.
Wow. All right. This is a family-friendly show, Jared. I'll like to remind you of that. Yikes.
No. Yes. Anyway, sorry. I had to get my trains moving.
Okay.
It happens sometimes.
Okay. Well, that's good.
Yeah.
That's good. All right. Jared, how the hell are you?
Fantastic. How are you, Lloyd?
I'm obviously not as good as you because I have not yet sent any pickles to Kiev.
Well, it's also sushi and submarines to Barcelona. That's what I'm doing now.
All right. It sounds like you're playing something new.
It could be that.
That's not out on the... Is it out in the App Store? No, it's not, right?
No, it comes out next week.
Oh, okay. Wow. This makes sense. Makes sense. All right. Well, let's get into the show before we divulge any of that information. So, Jared, how the heck are you besides your pickle train?
Pickles in Kiev. I am doing fantastic. Just kind of weird to be talking to you on a Wednesday.
Yeah, it is. It's really kind of odd. But thanks for being able to jump in and be flexible. I just couldn't turn away free tickets because tickets are hard to get here in town, man. There's 15,004 seats in the MTS Center, and they are sold out for every single game. And these are P1 tickets, so they are over $100 face value. So
that's crazy.
I was given two tickets, and it's like, okay, I will go to this game. Thank you. And it's just a preseason game even, and they're still over $100 a ticket. It's insane, man. Insane.
That's cool.
But it'll be good.
Yeah, and it's iOS 7 day, so that's
it is
interesting.
Jared, happy iOS 7 day. What did you do today, sir? Did you wear like a brightly colored shirt, and did you move slowly back and forth as people were looking at you to simulate parallax effect of iOS 7? Did you do any of that weird stuff?
No, I didn't, but I did download iOS 7.
Oh, okay. Well, I guess I did more than you, so I guess there's that. You could feel free to do the bare minimum, Jared. That's okay too.
I've never celebrated things very big. It's just kind of my personality.
Cool. So yes, it is iOS 7 release day. We'll get into that a little bit later in the show. But let's start the meat of the show. Jared, what have you been playing recently?
Well, most recently I've been playing this little game called Pocket Trains. Did you hear that? Did you hear that?
I did. That was perfect timing, man.
That was like incredible timing. So Pocket Trains is the follow-up to Pocket Planes. It's by Nimblebit, which is a developer that somehow has the knack for making very, very addictive, fun games, and ones that you can just pull out and play for a little bit and have a fun gaming experience. So Pocket Trains is apparently what happened originally is that Nimblebit had intended to make a game that was Pocket Trains, and then it became Pocket Planes just to deal
I'm waiting
with
for
this.
pocket automobiles so we can have pocket planes, trains, and automobiles, and then we can live out a really great movie from the 80s.
You
In
should
pocket
write them
form.
that. I wonder if they would make that for you.
Maybe. I'm sure they've heard it before because it's such a genius idea. I couldn't be the only one that have come up
Yeah, it
with
is
that
a
idea.
pretty obvious joke. So there are some
I say
pretty
genius and you say obvious. Come on now, that's not fair.
well. Anyway, well, I'll call how I see it. So Pocket Trains is there's some cool things about it and some less cool things about it compared to Pocket Planes. For one, in Pocket Planes, you had to collect the different pieces of different trains. You had to collect like this part and this part and this part in order to get a new plane. In Pocket Trains, all you just collect 3 parts, and then you're like, I want to build a train out of these 3 parts. And when you build those 3, you can pick either a engine or you can pick a fuel car. And sometimes you can have a train with multiple engines that can carry more cars, and you can also have ones with fuel things that allow you to run longer. Additionally, in Pocket Planes, it was possible for you to basically run at a loss and run out of money. You would have had to be kind of dumb. I'm sorry if anyone did it, but it would be hard, but you could do it. You could actually, operate all your flights at a loss by moving stuff to not where it was supposed to go.
Right.
And in Pocket Trains, the way that they get around this is there's another system called fuel. So actually just running there, you only make profit as long as you have sufficient fuel to do it. And when your trains are in the station, they are constantly replenishing fuel. So it makes it so that you can actually run negative. But it is a little bit of a freemium mechanism that you have to pay bucks if you want to get their fuel all the way back up. I don't actually think that's necessarily a bad thing for me because I tend to get a little compulsive and pull it out every 5 seconds whenever I had Pocket Planes, because there'd always be a new plane landing and I needed to go send it on its way. And I can't do that with this one because after I do it 2 or 3 times or 4, it's probably a little more than that, but after I send it on several missions, it then runs out of gas, out of fuel. And that's just the game's nice way of telling me that I've played too much in the last few minutes. So I'm okay with that. So it's kind of cool. There's some good things about it, and I think people are gonna like it. Go check out the trailer on it because it's really, really funny. There's a video that went viral a little while ago with somebody who got extremely excited about a train, is my understanding, and they actually went and used the same idea of somebody that was getting extremely excited about a train as they did the Pocket Trains like little preview. So it's worth watching, and then watch for it next week, and we'll probably have a more thorough review. Lloyd and I were lucky enough that the developer sent us a couple of codes so that we could check it out early, and so don't be depressed when you start the game and Lloyd and I are way ahead of you. Actually, you probably won't be way ahead of him because you haven't even played it yet.
I've played it.
Yeah, what level are you?
Level 2. Level 2. I've played it enough to level up once, which happens the second time you send a train somewhere. I've been really busy. You have no clue how busy I've been this week. It's been an insane week. But yeah,
Right,
I will play it, or I'll let my wife play it, and she'll blow way past you because she's insane about this stuff.
That's probably true. So yeah, I think I'm like level 8, and I've only been playing it 2 days. So I mean, it's like all freemium games. They give you the early level ups relatively quickly.
Yeah.
I'm starting to grow to the bounds of Europe right now, and so I'm trying to decide if at what point do I just start saving for a new region, because it's like 50,000 to go into a new region. Right. So I'm getting close, and I'm starting to get a little bit better trains. Some that are faster and some that can carry more cargo and stuff like that. So I'm just barely starting to get some of those other trains. My recommendation is that if you can, always put as many engines and fuel tankers that you can on every single train, because it just it allows you to carry more stuff and allows you to play for longer without having to wait for your trains to fuel up. So anyway, that's Pocket Trains. Then I have been playing a game called Where's My Water 2, which it is very, very similar to Where's My Water. I am through the first world and I'm into the second world. It's very interesting how they do this because previously there were all the swampy adventures and then you had to go somewhere else for the cranky adventures. And in this one, like half the time you'll have like a swampy adventure and then there'll be a challenge level that's cranky and they'll mix it back and forth between, swampy and cranky. And Allie, I think, is the girl alligator name.
Okay.
And then oftentimes there'll be challenges like don't touch any of the ducks, and if you touch any of the ducks you lose, or don't or it'll go upside down and you have to do the same level in reverse but thinking about everything upside down. Or there'll be 10 little ducks all over the place and you have to touch each of the 10 little ducks instead of the 3 slightly larger ducks. It's cool. It's good. There's an interesting little energy system to it. And this is just going to blow you away, but basically it's like nine matches is about what you can play. Whenever I've timed it, I get either 9. Every once in a while I get 10, but I think that might be because one generates while I'm playing.
Right.
So I think 9 is about what you can plan on. But here's the crazy thing. So you can, anytime you want, you can just pay like 99 cents and you can get an energy refill. Or you can get visual hints for 99 cents. Or there's a vacuum power-up for 99 cents and you get some of those. And then there's absorber power-ups and 99 cents gets you some of those. And so it's just anything you want pretty much costs 99 cents. With the exception of, so you can get an energy increase. So how I said you could play 9 levels in a row, if you get the energy increase, you can play more. I don't know how many more because there's absolutely no way I would buy this in-app purchase. How much do you think it costs, Lloyd? Have you looked?
I have not. $4.99, I'll guess. That seems to be the new amount for these types of things.
Let's go up.
$4.99. No, $5.99.
Okay, we're going to be here a while. Let's
Okay.
go up.
$6.99.
Okay, come on. Let's go up by more than $1.
$19.99.
Down, but not much.
$14.99.
So if for some weird reason it's $16.99.
What? That's weird.
$17 so that you can play, say, I don't know how long it is, but like 18 levels instead of 9 in a row without $17.
Wow. I don't even know. That's all I'll say.
Like what the Disney? Like anyway, so just really surprising that is even an option and that they would price it so aggressively, especially a game that, has been 99 cents for so long.
Yeah.
For me, it works okay because I never sit and play a huge number of levels. So I'm okay with it, to be honest. But I could see it being really obnoxious.
Freemium can... Yeah. I hate that. I hate having to wait to play a game that I get. I'll buy a game or download a game for free, and you can only play it for X number of minutes before you have to take a timeout. Go sit in the corner like a bad person, and when you're good, we'll let you come back and play our game. I mean, that is just flawed. That is just a flawed model, and it must work because every game seems to be doing it these days, and it just absolutely drives me insane. If I have time to play a game, I have a time to play a game, and I want to play said game during that time. I don't have time to play for a few minutes and then wait another hour to then play another few minutes. I mean, it's just so busted. And yeah, the fact that the energy increase, I'm actually on their on the App Store page right now. The energy increase is $16.99. There's a monster bundle for $9.99. What does the monster bundle do? Do you know?
I've been looking around trying to figure it out, and I actually... Oh, wait, I just found it. So a monster bundle is a massive pack filled with all power-ups and hints you
Okay.
need to beat the
Oh,
game.
okay. So it's not a monster. It's a monster as in size. Yeah, it's just like, why? Like,
And starter bundle is treat yourself to a few decky power-ups and level-beating hints.
oh, drives me insane. Like, freemium, Candy Crush, all those games, they're going to be the downfall of games. There's going to be another crash like the Atari 2600, where all the casual people that are spending all this money are just going to get all sick of games at the exact same time, and there'll be no more games, all because of the greed of large corporations like this. It's just sad, sad, sad. For game developers now to hire psychologists to work with them to develop the best triggers to trigger human addiction, something's wrong here. When you're hiring scientists to make people more addicted to your game, that is wrong, and that should not exist. But that, I don't know. I could rail on freemium apps and terrible purchases or practices rather, but I will stop because I don't want to get angry.
Yeah, I have a hard time because sometimes they're done okay and they're done in tasteful ways. And then there's $17 purchases on a game that's clearly targeted at children.
And for a game that's always been $1 or $2.
Yeah.
Like it went from $2 to, you can't play it as much as you want unless you give us X number of dollars, which you could buy our old version 8 times. We hate you. Thanks for supporting us in the start. Yeah, it's wrong.
We found something super successful, and now we're going to screw you.
Yeah. And the funny thing is, Where's My Water? I've actually seen stuffies and T-shirts, and there's like merchandise. So aren't you making enough money through merchandising? Like, why do you need to do this? But it's Disney, and I'm playing a game from Disney, so I know how greedy they can be.
Yeah, so anyway, that is Where's My Water 2. It's actually pretty good. Like, I'm happy with how they changed it up and have some little things that are a little different. I just am not super thrilled by the way they chose to do freemium in it. So if you're okay with playing and then leaving it for a while and playing it and kind of playing it on a slow burn, then it's probably worth getting. I'm going to do my... I probably will review it, and it'll probably get a decent score. But yeah, just play it on a slow burn. Right. So finally, I'm playing, and this is yet another just funny thing.
You know what? How about you hold on for a second? We'll take a small break, and then we'll talk about this game for a little bit. I want to get I want to get this.
Sounds good.
So yeah, let's take a small break and let's talk about Audible.com. They're an awesome company, and thanks go out to Audible for supporting the podcast network for this month, or a couple shows in the network anyway. If you're not familiar with Audible, it is a service that allows you to get audiobooks. You can either buy them ad hoc whenever you want, a la carte, or you can do the better idea, which is sign up for a membership, and you get X number of credits based on your membership, and then you can use those credits to get free books, which is a really great thing. Audible has well over 100,000 books in their library in every genre, and I thought I'd tell you about a really good book that is available. And that is A Game of Thrones, A Song of Ice and Fire, Book 1. I love Game of Thrones. I love the TV series. I love the books. And I love the performance that good authors do on Audible.com. So just have a listen.
Books on Tape presents A Game of Thrones.
Let's not do that one then, because it started off with the start of the book that tells you all about the book. I thought it was going to go right into the chapter. Yeah, we'll do this for a few more seconds. So yeah, basically every book on audible.com is a performance, which is different. So I read a lot of books, in the past, I read a lot of books when I was taking the bus. And I've also read more books probably in the last little while on Audible, just because I can fit in reading now, however or whenever I want, just by turning on my iPhone and listening to books that way. So let's turn this one up.
50, and he had seen the lordlings come and go. Dead is dead, he said. We have no business with the dead. Are they dead? Royce asked softly. What proof have we? We'll show them, Garrett said.
So there you go. There's a little sample from Game of Thrones, A Song of Ice and Fire. And that is what is awesome about Audible. You have these really great narrators that are reading these books. A lot of them put on kind of an act, like a play almost, where they're doing all the characters in the book. There's a whole bunch of books that I love listening to on Audible, and they all have really good narrators. And Roy Dotrice is a really good one as well. He's the one that narrates the Game of Thrones books. So do check it out. If you want to listen to it, Audible has it with over 100,000 titles from virtually any and every genre. You'll be able to find what you're looking for. And for you, the listeners, you can get a free audiobook. You can choose like the Game of Thrones or any other Ready Player One. There's a whole series of Star Wars books and even World of Warcraft books, you name it. They have a lot of stuff there, especially stuff that gamers and other sci-fi geeks will love. They got a lot of that stuff as well. And you can get a free audiobook and also a free 30-day trial by heading on over to audiblepodcast.com/touchofgaming. That is audiblepodcast.com/TOUCHOFGAMING. Just spell it all out, and you can get a free book and a free trial. And if you use it, I know you'll love it, and you can check it out again. audiblepodcast.com/touchofgaming. And thanks go out again to audible.com for sponsoring the podcast here on the VG Podcast Network.
Yeah, I just spent another credit on it yesterday because my wife is going for a big long drive and she wanted a book that would, keep her entertained. And so we got a good Brandon Sanderson book for her, and
nice,
so that she can go for a nice long drive tomorrow because it's like 3 hours or something like that.
That's the best. The best thing is fitting in reading when you normally wouldn't have time to fit in reading. Like I used to do it on the exercise bike all the time, or if I was on the bus, or it was the perfect way to read, because you're consuming all the pages of the book, but you don't actually have to have time to have a book in front of you. So if I'm mowing the lawn or washing the car or doing some other task that has to be done, I can at least make it fun by listening to a book from audible.com.
Yeah, so it's great service. I'm a huge fan. So
awesome. All right, well, let's get into the rest of the show. Let's talk a little bit about what I've been playing, and we'll start it off with a game that Jared, you were just about to talk about, and that is Patapon, which surprisingly enough, we talked about it last episode, and I just looked right now. It is still on the App Store. Like, how is this possible? So the game is called Patapon Siege of WoW. It's by Beijing Q&D Technology Co. Limited. So if
that sounds completely legit.
If that doesn't scream quality, I don't know what does. And this is a game that has all of the music and sound effects from the PSP titles Patapon, Patapon 2, and Patapon 3. It has art style that is very reminiscent of those games as well. Your Patapons, your little characters look a little different. And it's set up like kind of a Angry Birds-ish kind of game where you complete a mission and you get a number of stars. And then you go on to the next level and try to get another number of stars and continue.
And you collect resources and you use that resources to get a stronger team.
Yeah, like it's Patapon, but it's not, but it is. And it's still on the App Store by a company that isn't Sony Computer Entertainment Europe or Japan, I guess, where this game was initially created. So
it was done by Pyramid, right?
Right. So how is this game in the App Store for almost 2 weeks now without being shut down? Like, I don't get it. This confuses me so much. And the game itself is horrible, by the way. But I guess it's good enough for people to not complain to iTunes to get a refund.
So it's better. It's better than it was. That's the funny thing.
Sure.
So I picked this up last week when it came out, and I know I shouldn't have, but I love Patapon so much, and so I was kind of interested to see what they were going to do with it. So I went and picked it up, and it was terrible because all the writing in it was completely in Chinese. And then when you were on the buy page, you couldn't see the top of the screen, so that, you didn't know. Well, they actually pushed out an update to it that fixed that. And so now it is in English. Granted, the English is horrible. It's like the worst translation port you've ever played. But you can now actually see how many resources and cache you have. So it's a little bit surprising that they've actually even pushed out an update to fix some of this. But it's still funny because they'll give you push notifications every once in a while, and the push notifications are still completely in Chinese.
Yeah.
So it's like,
and even better, I'm playing the music in the background, and it's the exact song from the PSP, like PlayStation Portable version.
and then when you play it, it's just a little bit out of sync.
Yeah, it's annoying.
It's a freaking rhythm game. You can't be out of sync on a rhythm game. Like,
apparently you can, Jared. Apparently you can.
Like, that's like the number one thing you've got to make sure you get right if you're making a game. If you're playing a rhythm game, it's got to be in sync.
Yeah. Follow the rhythm of a tap. Pawn, pawn, pata, pawn to attack. Touch anywhere. Become God attacking song. God's drum. Let us continue to march. Pata, 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 pawn. Yeah. This, what? I don't know. I this game, I'm playing it and it's not Patapon, but it has all the art and sounds from Patapon. Like, oh, it just drives me insane. I want to find out, like, not that it's on the App Store, whatever, that's a thing. I just want to find out how it's on the App Store. Like, I want to get to the bottom of how this game is there and why it hasn't been pulled down by Sony, who's extremely litigious when it comes to these types of things. I'm sure there's a cease and desist letter. If this was a problem, there would have been a cease and desist letter sent out the same day, and it would have been pulled off in the App Store. So, like, did they lose a trademark? Did this company buy a smaller company that owned the IP through some strange loophole? Like, I have to do some investigative journalism or something.
Have you also noticed that, like, no websites have covered it?
Yeah.
Like, that's the crazy thing. I haven't seen anything about it on Touch Arcade. I mean, there's a big talk in Touch Arcade forum, but there's no, like, actual official journalism site that's like, you know, because usually when there's one of these knockoffs, they go and, like, make a big deal out of it. And they haven't even touched this one.
Yeah. Yeah, it's so weird, man. I'm confused. I want to know what this game is and how it exists. I won't rest until I find this out, Jared.
Yeah.
Or maybe I'll rest. It's not really that big of a deal at the end of the day.
So don't go get it. Don't go get it. But it's crazy that it's still there. And unless you really just want to hear the Patapon song, because it makes you happy, because it makes me happy.
I want to buy the soundtrack, which is essentially 2 songs, I guess, and just listen to them.
Do they have a Patapon soundtrack?
I don't think so. Or they might. I don't know. I've never.
I need to find this out. Go ahead and keep talking. I'm going to go find that.
Well, besides Patapon, I picked up 2 games this week. That one that I'm going to review this episode because I've played a lot of it, both on iOS and other places, and that is the Disney Infinity Toy Box app. Finally hit the App Store. It's available for free right now, but I'll talk about that when I get to the review at the end of the show. I've also been playing Angry Birds Star Wars 2, and this one's really interesting for a couple reasons. The first reason is that it's another Angry Birds Star Wars, which is great. It's 99 cents, which is great, and oddly enough, it's universal. I think this is the first Rovio app that has been universal that I can think of. Every other Angry Birds game, you'd buy the iPhone version, and then you'd buy the iPad version if you wanted to play it on both devices. This one is a universal app, which confused me because when I saw the listing, I clicked over and it brought me to the listing that had the iPhone version. So I was like, oh, that's not right. So I went searching again to try to find the iPad version, and I couldn't find it. And so I went back to the iPhone version, and I saw the box you can click over for both screenshots, iPhone and iPad. And I'm just like, what? How is that possible? So yeah, Angry Birds Star Wars 2 is out. It's 99 cents. And this is the one that allows you to buy physical pieces of plastic, put them over the camera on your iPad with a special little holder seat extender thingy, whatever it is, and it'll actually scan those characters into the game, and you can use them as power-ups. I haven't bought any of the characters. I don't know if I will, but that's a neat little feature of this game. So I've been playing through it. and it's kind of neat because you can play through the levels as either the good side or the pork side. And when you're the pork side, you're attacking the Star Wars characters with the pig characters. Vastly different play styles, which is fun. And this one also has kind of achievements that unlock as you play through the game. Well, they've always had achievements, but these are in-game achievements. So you have to get X number of points with every character. And you at the end of the level, you see your progress meter towards that achievement kind of getting closer and closer to the end. When you finally unlock it, you get an in-game achievement, and you also get some sort of perk, whether it's consumable special items, whether it's extra points, whether it's whatever, which is really kind of neat. That's kind of new. So whenever you're playing a level, you don't mind so much replaying levels over and over again if you haven't gotten the achievement for that special character. And when you get the achievement for a special character, you unlock some special missions for that character. So it's not just a fun thing to unlock, it's also something that adds to the gameplay as well. So I'm most of the way through the first world, so I'm going to keep playing it over the next little while because I am actually having a lot of fun with it. So Angry Birds Star Wars 2 App Store, it's available now for 99 cents, which is really kind of surprising that it's so cheap, and it's universal, which kind of scares me because Rovio never does that. It makes me think it's almost a mistake.
Nah, it's so cheap because they want you to buy your pods. And want to get their money on the other side.
And they want you to buy the toys, and they want you to buy the in-game power-ups if you don't buy the toys. That's for sure. But looks interesting.
Cool.
All right, man. Well, let's get into the news. Of course, it is iOS 7 day today. If you haven't already, you can go into the settings app on your iPhone or iPad, go into general, and go to the update section and hit check for update. And you can install iOS 7, provided you have an iPhone 4 Plus, so anything that came out after iPhone 4, an iPad 2 Plus, and iPod Touch. I think it's 4th gen and above, but I'm not positive.
No, it's 5th gen.
5th gen and above. And you can install iOS 7. I've been running.
Hooray!
It is hooray! It's actually really good. A really good OS. I've been running iOS 7 on my iPhone for about 2 months now, I guess, as a developer through the developer program, and it's had its ups and downs. But the Gold Master came out about a week ago, and it was really good. This is the first time I've put it on my iPad, and this OS is way better on the iPad than it is on the iPhone. It makes your iPad look like a whole new device. It is really quite breathtaking. Just the graphical differences that you get on the iPad compared to the iPhone. What does it have that the other ones didn't have? Updated OS launcher. Everything in the OS now is assigned to a 3D object with physics and other type stuff put into it. There was actually a game developer who worked on that system, the physics system for this interface. And it's not just for show. Little things like your task switcher. So you can see Patapon is right there. You can basically scroll through it really fast. You flick it up to get rid of it if I want to close that app. But that is all done like seamlessly. It's so quick because the underpinnings of the OS are running on this 3D, essentially a game engine. Other things like physics for certain apps, like when you're going to the camera app, some things bounce on the screen and it's all physics based. And there's the parallax behind your icons. So if you move your iPad, the background kind of shifts around behind the icons and makes it look like there's some 3D depth there. So yeah, just graphically, it's really good. Battery life is much better. I have a Pebble smartwatch, and when I had my Pebble synced to my iPhone, I would get down to about 20% battery by the time I got home after a day. And that's without really using my iPhone for anything but checking the odd email or whatever. When I first put the iOS 7 beta on it, my battery life immediately went up by quite some good level. I don't even know what the percentage is. I should have figured that one out. But I think on the first day after I installed the iOS 7 beta, I got home and I had almost 60% of my battery left. So from 20% to 60%, that's a 40% delta with the same usage patterns. So almost twice as much battery life on just a general use. With the betas, it's gotten a little bit worse, but not much. I think when I got home today, I had like 49 or 50%. Which is way better than what it used to be with iOS 6, where I was coming home and I had 20% battery life. So if I wanted to go out after work, I'd have to plug in my phone, charge it up, and then do that. And I guess that's because it's using a lot more background tasks where it's properly putting apps like the Pebble app into the background, waking them up and putting them to sleep as needed. And it's probably using a little bit of Bluetooth 4.0, the Bluetooth LE, or 5.0, I guess. I don't know what the spec is, but it's the Bluetooth LE, which the Pebble Watch supports, and so does iOS 7. I'm thinking that there might be some of that in play as well. But things like battery life, just the general usability on the phone, like it seemed to make my I have an iPhone 5. It just made everything quicker, and it was already a really responsive OS before. So I'm really loving it on my phone, but I'm loving it even more on my iPad, which kind of surprises me. How about you, Jared? What are your thoughts so far on iOS 7?
I have not used it for very long, so I don't have a ton of thoughts. It required me to delete a whole bunch of stuff in order to install it. It looked like, I think I had to get up to like 3.8 gig, because it's a beast. So be prepared for that. Besides that, it does seem to be working well. I'm having to get used to some new things. How you search is a little different.
Yeah, you just pull down from anywhere in the interface when you're on home screen.
Yeah.
So you don't double tap and then slide over. You just slide down on anyone, and then you can search.
And then how? And you may have just touched this, but how do I get rid of like the other things that are running?
So yeah, you double tap it, so it brings up your list, and you just grab the card, like the actual the screen of the app, and you just flip it up.
Oh, got it.
And you just flip it up, and then that.
Yeah, so it's a little different there.
A little bit different, but yeah, it seems like from a newbie kind of standpoint, that to me that would make more sense than holding down an icon until it jiggles. I mean, as a new user, that wouldn't really make that much sense, but grabbing a screen and flipping it away.
Sorry, if you're a new user, you'd get worried that you were deleting stuff, because that's also the same way. It's the same thing that when you delete stuff. So
exactly. The thing that I find really usable and really great is when you slide up from the bottom of the screen, it brings up that little drawer that allows you to quickly turn off your Bluetooth and other type services. But then it has the flashlight, which in the middle of the night, it's hit the home button, slide up, hit the flashlight button, and then I have a way to see around my house when I don't want to turn lights on. Just a little feature like that. It just made iOS 7 that much better to me, which sounds kind of bizarre, but it's true. Yeah, I'm really digging it.
And it seems like people haven't had very many issues with it, which is good, because a lot of the other ones, when they come out, there's little hiccups.
Yeah.
And so far, I have not seen anything in hiccups. So
I've been
still
looking.
Make sure to back up your device before you go ahead and update, but you're probably okay to update here pretty soon, because it seems like everything is going pretty smoothly on it.
Yeah, for sure. It's really, really good. I love iOS 7. As I said, I've been using it for quite some time now, and have had pretty much zero problems with it that weren't related to the specific beta that I was running. And at the end of the day, that's kind of my own fault, so I can't bitch too much about it. But yeah, it's really good. One other great addition, which is good for us as gamers, is that the over-the-air download limit has been increased to 100 megabytes. So way back in the day, it used to be, I think, 40 megs. They pumped it up to, I want to say, 75 megabytes. Now it's 100 megabytes. So as developers, they can make games that are up to 100 megabytes, and people can download them over the air through their cell phone service without having to be on Wi-Fi, which is a nice thing, because it was always terrible when you wanted to download something. You're out at a coffee shop or something, you wanted to download something to show somebody, and then it was like just a little bit bigger than what your download limits were, and it was just so annoying all the time. Now 100 megs for small apps, that's pretty much every app. For non like 3D games that are using Unreal Engine, you'll probably be good and able to do that kind of stuff.
Yep, and they did it kind of quietly, so I mean that was kind of cool.
Exactly. All right, moving on. Our only other news story really isn't a news story. It's kind of an FYI, and that is Nimble Quest. It has dropped to free, so go get it. And in their update notes for Nimble Quest, they also put in that they support iOS 7 controllers, which we haven't heard any details of from Apple. But there's been a bunch of games this last little while, the last week or so, that have supported something called iOS 7 controller. So they have iOS 7 controller support baked into the description for the update. I hope Apple announces what these actual controllers are. They haven't yet. We've seen some stuff that leaked out from WWDC, but I really want to go buy an iOS 7 supported controller and then start playing games with it, whatever this thing is. I know Logitech and I think Nyko showed off some of their, I guess, the prototype stuff, but I want to buy one of these so I can basically use something like my 8-bitty with more games than the couple dozen that the 8-bitty supports, because I really like playing games that way. Unfortunately, without built-in iOS support, it was less likely that games would support it. Now that it's baked into the OS, I'm really looking forward to more games supporting it and getting some really good controllers to be able to do that. So, Jared, you excited about this at all?
Of course, I'm really excited to have finally a controller support, but like you said, they've been really quiet about it. So I'm wondering if that's one of the things that they'll announce together with like the iPad.
I'm pretty sure that's what they're waiting for. They want to save the big announcements for that show off the new iPad, the new iPad Mini, and then things like the controllers and stuff like that as well.
Yeah, so it'll be good, and hopefully lots of people start putting it into games, because that really will up the level of development that you could do, and then you can have a little bit more functionality to some of these games that are a little bit difficult with on-screen controls. So.
Exactly. All right, man. Well, that's going to about do it for news. It's been a slow news week. How about we get into reviews, and you can kick it off with yours.
All right. So my game is a game that I talked about a couple weeks ago. It's pretty simplistic. It's called Joining Hands 2. So it's by 10 Ton. They've done several different games. But Joining Hands was one that I had I remember looking at it and thinking, oh, that looks interesting, and then never actually picking up. It ended up going free to celebrate the coming out of Joining Hands 2. And when it came out, I was like, oh, I'll go play that. So I went and played it, and I loved it so much that I went and immediately bought Joining Hands 2. So I'm actually going to review Joining Hands 2 because it's a much more current game, where Joining Hands has been out for kind of a while. But if you it may be worthwhile to go get both of them, because they're different. So the way that it works is there is a hexagon grid that is given to you on each level. And there's these little guys that are called Peeblins. Yes, that's their name. And the Peeblins, they just want to hold hands. It's kind of cute. And so it's a really simple puzzle game where you just have to figure out in what order you can arrange all of the Peeblins so that all of their hands are being held. And some of them will have one arm, and then they go clear up to 6 arms. Then you'll have like ones that are Geo-Peeblins, and they have to stay right next to rock or on top of rock. And the hands will rotate around. But then you have another guy who's like super strong, and he's so strong that you can't actually turn his, or he can't turn. His hands are stuck in that position. And then you'll have like an old man Peeblin. I don't know why the
Is your smoke detector going
alarm.
off?
Yeah, sounds like the smoke alarm is dying on its battery. But so the Peeblins, there's another one that's an old man, and you have to get him to someone to hold on to his beard, as well as his two hands. And then there's another one that's like shy, and so he can only be next to the exact number of hands he has. So you can't like double back on yourself when you use them. And it's a really simple puzzle that each time they set it out to you, there's a hex grid. Each hex grid is a little different. Sometimes they'll put rocks in it, things like that, and you just have to figure out what order to put them in so that all the Peeblins are happy. There are special squares. Some of those squares include stars, and that's how you collect stars throughout the game, is by finding a solution that has a Peeblin on that spot. Um, which are usually more, there's usually like one answer that's somewhat easy, maybe not completely easy, and then another one that's slightly harder in order to have it covering either 1 star or 2 stars. And it's really just, it's a simple game, but it's really, really fun. I've just found myself playing a ton of this game, trying to make all the Peeblins happy. And it's a really, it's a very logical puzzle that you're trying to figure out. And so sometimes you'll see, oh, I need one hand over there, and this guy doesn't have a hand, an extra hand, so you'll swap them. And so there's just a lot of logic, a lot of thinking in it. And I really, really was surprised that I enjoyed this game so much. So I got it when it first came out. It was on a 99-cent sale. It's now $2.99. It's probably worth that, or you could try and wait for it to go on sale. But for me, it's going to get a 5 out of 5. I really enjoy the simplicity of the puzzle, and I just feel like it's something different that you can think and just kind of enjoy. And it's a little bit one of those like almost Zen games where you can just kind of relax and try and figure out how to make all the Peeblins happy. And there's lots and lots of levels to it. So there's 7 different worlds in it. That's right now. It looks like they probably will be coming out with more based on the way that it's built. And each level you have to, or each world you have to collect like 25 stars. So that's probably about 20 levels, because most levels just have 1 star, and then occasionally they have 2. So it's pretty simplistic, but it's a really, really fun game. Kind of one of those puzzle games that's just distilled down to its core so that you can play it. And I'm really, really enjoying this game. So it's Joining Hands 2. Joining Hands 1 is also very, very good. It's by 10 Tons, and I would highly recommend this game if it sounds interesting. Kind of a little bit more of a relaxing puzzler to figure out as you try and make all the Peeblins happy. So.
All right.
That's all I got.
I was going to put a joke there, but I'm not going to. So
I know I'm just totally setting myself up today between pickle trains to Kiev and Peeblins.
Yeah, you are. That's okay. That's okay, Jared. It is all right. All right. So thanks, Jared, for that review. I'm going to give you guys my review for this week, and it's for an app that just came out called Disney Infinity Toy Box. And the reason why I can review this one, even though it just came out, is because I've probably put 100 hours into playing the toy box on my console. I've played a lot of toy box, and this is essentially the exact same thing. And it's not even essentially the exact same thing. It is the exact same thing, which is kind of amazing, to tell you the truth. So a Disney Infinity Toy Box is a free game. It's available completely free until October 15th. And then it goes up to, I don't know, they haven't said. But it's at least free until the 15th. And this is the full toy box mode that is inside Disney Infinity. So Disney Infinity has play sets. So you play as Mr. Incredible, and you play a playset. You play in the Incredibles playset with Mr. Incredible. And when you're done with all of your playset stuff, you can then play with them inside the toy box mode, which is kind of like it's kind of like Minecraft, to tell you the truth. So you build things, instead of just building everything with small little blocks and mining to get these blocks, you go into what they call spark mode. You're the spark of creativity, which is kind of the paradigm that they used in this game for explaining why there's creation and why all the characters together and things like that. And you use that spark of creativity to enter spark mode, to then basically place objects. And you place objects, and they're all available in a menu. And then you place the objects, and then you can exit the spark mode and then go right into a world that you created. So pretty cool. I play this a lot with the kids on my Wii U, where we jump into toy box mode and they want me to make a maze with enemies in it. So a couple 10 minutes or so of placing blocks and enemy spawners, and then I exit creativity mode, the spark mode, and then the kids go and they play and they have fun with it, and then they want me to do something else, so I go do that, or they want to do something and they actually go and then create whatever levels that they want to create by using the simple system. It's been a lot of fun, and I basically have told people that it's kind of like the Duplo version of Minecraft. So Duplo is kind of like the big fat Lego stuff, and this is kind of like the Duplo version of that for Minecraft, because you're not making levels with small little blocks. You're making levels with big cool looking objects. So that's what the toy box mode is. So this version of toy box mode essentially allows you to jump into the game as Mr. Incredible. That is the only character that comes with the game. If you are watching the live stream or on YouTube, you can see that I have all the characters unlocked, which is because I own the physical toys. So I'm in this little world I created as Mr. Incredible, but I can select Mater, hit exit, and then immediately I'll change into Mater, and now I can drive through. The world as Mater, which is really hard to do on camera when it's backwards. But I can play through the game now as a different character, as a character that is a car, not a person, which is kind of weird in a lot of instances. But at the same time, it's also kind of cool. And that is that's kind of like what toy box mode is. Like you create something, you test it out with your character, you go create something else, test it out with your character, and do it that way. This version of toy box mode is a little bit different. So you don't obviously have a base pad or mat that you put your characters on for them to join into your game. Like on my Wii U, you put a character down, it comes into the game. This one, you actually have to register codes. So when you buy a character, so I have Francesco Bernoulli here. When you buy that character, you get a physical card that has a code on the other side, which I'm covering up so you don't type it in. So you take that code, you punch it into the game, and then it unlocks the character in your game. If you don't have any of the characters, or if you don't want to spend the $12.99 to buy the physical statue-ish plastic figurine, you can actually buy all these characters in app. So if you don't have the console version and you still like the ability of, or the idea of playing through as Tonto or the Lone Ranger or Sully or Davy Jones or Randall from Monsters Incorporated, you can actually buy all these characters in the game for 99 cents each through in-app purchase. Or if you already own it on another platform, you punch in the code and you get access to all your characters as well. The characters all have separate powers. So if you're Mr. Incredible, you have a ground smash. If you're Randall, you can basically turn invisible. In this mode, those powers really don't matter. The fact that you're only creating stuff in single player mode really makes owning any other characters kind of useless. You don't really need them because you're just creating levels with a character that you can then share with the console versions, or at least that is how I'm going to use it. When you first sign into this game, you link it up to your Disney account, which is something that you also have to do when you get the console version. And it tracks things like in the game, if you download it now and you've never played Disney Infinity before, you get about 50 little blocks that you can use when you create levels. So things like terrain and small little rock outcroppings. Since I've played a lot of Disney Infinity on my console, and I've pretty much unlocked everything. When I bring up the item list, I have all sorts of things. So I can go to, say, playset town people, and I can choose the reformed thug, and I can place them in the game. Not something that you would have unless you played a lot of the regular mode. Or I can go into the cast member section. So there's Edna Mode from The Incredibles, or I can go into Raggedy from Pirates of the Caribbean, or Fillmore from Cars. All characters that I've unlocked for Toy Box mode on my console. These apparently were all being synced up to my Disney account without me knowing, because as soon as I logged into my account, all these characters were immediately available, which was awesome. Which makes me wonder why I had to then go and punch in online codes to unlock the actual physical characters. It's like, you got all the stuff I've unlocked in the game. Maybe they're hoping that a lot of people don't realize you can punch in the code and they buy the characters for 99 cents to scrape a little bit of more money from you. But it's just like, you're halfway there, or you're 97% of the way there. That extra 3% just wasn't there, which is really kind of bizarre. So yeah, I mean, that's essentially what it is. Like, you unlock things in the main game, and then you build with them in this game. The actual building interface is actually kind of cool. You basically just grab something. So I'm going to grab this thing. What am I going to grab? The ranch, which I guess was unlocked from the Cars playset. And then I just kind of grab it and I drag it out, which is hard to do when it's reverse on camera. So I grab it and drag it out. If it's a blue box, it's good. If it's red, it means it's overlapping through something. And then you just let go, and then the item appears in your world, and you can pinch to zoom and do all that fun stuff. When the character, or when the item's placed, you can rotate it. You can do all sorts of fun things as well. Just with these little rotate buttons that pop up on the side. So I want to rotate this ranch that I put in there. I like it like that, but now it's red, so I'll move it over a little bit, put it over here, and then get rid of that one. And then now I have a ranch that I can immediately go in. So if I hit the little red X at the top, it brings me right into play mode, and there I am as Randall, and I'm in the little ranch that I placed, and I can go have fun and play with it. And what I do is, or what one would do in this game is, you can play, you can have fun with it, you can explore, you can build racetracks, you can race on them, and you can do all that stuff in this free app. So like, what you can do is, if I go into Toy Box Share, I can actually download some of the toy boxes that Disney has already made. So I can play this one, which is called Three Little Houses. So we'll let that load. And once it loads, I'll show you what it does. But these are an example of things that Disney has made available for people to play with. But what you can do with this is, you could build a level, something fun, a fun toy box, and then save it up to your cloud save, which actually pushes it up to Disney servers. And then immediately I can go on my Wii U, I could turn on my Wii U, and I can download that level that I created on my iPad. So playing on the Wii U is really awesome, because you can do multiplayer. You can have a lot of fun that way. I'm going to pretty much be using this app as kind of like a little notepad, kind of like an easy way for me to go and start creating levels while I'm safe. I'm out on lunch at work, or if I'm just watching a movie with the kids and I want to mess around with something, maybe an idea for a racetrack or something. I can use this as kind of like the little notebook kind of thing to basically realize those ideas, save it up to my my cloud account, my Disney cloud account, and then basically later in that day I can come down, load it on my Wii U, and be done with it. So I'm showing on the screen right now basically a little cannon, and the cannon's really kind of fun. So in this one level that Disney created, I'm gonna basically blow stuff up just by shooting it with a cannon. And all that stuff is available here. So I'm blowing up blocks and things like that, which is fun. So you can actually play with the levels, but the fact that there isn't any sort of multiplayer kind of limits kind of what you can do with it. And one of the things that I've seen is, for example, this level that I'm on, it has a whole bunch of buildings that are made that have exploding blocks by them. So if you shoot the exploding blocks, physics takes over and it knocks all the other blocks in the air and does a bunch of things. This game will sometimes pretty much crash. Like it doesn't actually crash, but the game slows down to nothing. 0 frames a second, which I guess is a bit of a limitation here. So even though you can play the levels you create, you're not going to have the best experience. It is kind of slow. Even more so, I made a little battle arena and was trying to link up some of the logic, because you can do things where if you push a button, it activates different creativity toys, or creativitoys is what they're called, things that will spawn enemies or do other things. So I had one of my levels that if you push a button, it places a whole bunch of enemies and then activates an automatic enemy spawner, just so you can have sort of like a battle arena where enemies are constantly spawning. Well, after that was activated, it got a couple of enemies on the screen. I was able to shoot them. Next thing you know, the game pauses and then all the enemies disappeared. And then I was like, okay. So I went and hit the button again and they all spawned again and I started shooting them. And when there was a few particle effects on the screen, it basically froze again and all the enemies disappeared. So I'm thinking that this version of Disney Infinity isn't quite 100% baked yet. I think it still has some cooking to do. But as it is right now, it's free. I'm having a lot of fun with it. You can play with the levels that Disney's already made. You can make your own levels. If you already have a console version of Disney Infinity, you can then make your levels, port them into your console version, and then have fun multiplayer. But for a free game, well, it's free right now. I don't know what the actual retail price is going to be in October. But for a game that is free, it gives you a taste of what the creativity mode in Disney Infinity is, with the caveat that it is kind of slow downish. It's kind of, it gets kind of janky a little bit. Some of the things just don't work properly, and then they will start working and then they won't. There's a lot of really powerful toys for making almost like little mini games in the console version. That stuff is not 100% working in any sort of acceptable way here in this game. But if you're just making a basic level and then going into the console version to add all the crazy logic and spawners and things, I'm personally going to see this as a really awesome way to just make a bunch of little levels. As I said, use it as kind of a little as a little notepad, for example, just like how someone that is making music would want to noodle around on a little like a little notepad, kind of work on some ideas. If you're the person that wants to make a bunch of Disney Infinity stuff, you can kind of do that wherever you are. That way, of course, with bugs and other things. But yeah, it's pretty fun. I'm actually flying around right now in a recognizer from Tron, which is really kind of cool, as Randall. So it's got some cool stuff in it as well. So anyway, Disney Infinity. It's free right now. It eventually will not be free, apparently. If you have characters, you can play with them in this game, although the single-player experience isn't that enjoyable. The toy box mode is definitely recommended or definitely made for people to play with friends or family members. But it's pretty cool for what it is. The fact that this is essentially the exact same game, the creativity portion of the game that I'm playing on my console really kind of wows me. It makes me wonder what is going to happen, because we know that this Infinity game is going to be kind of a yearly thing. It's sold like hundreds of millions of dollars in its first month. So it's going to be around for a while. And you know that they're going to be basically coming up with other things to do in the Disney Infinity world, whether it's Disney Infinity 2 or whatever. And hopefully that means that this will be updated multiple times with different content to support all that stuff. But Yeah, I mean, that's essentially it. Disney Infinity Toy Box. It's free. There's no reason to not go check it out and see if you like it. I dig it. I've been playing a lot with it. I'm going to try to make a couple levels for my kids with them on the iPad, and then save it up to the cloud and load it into my game just to see how that whole process works. But yeah, it's pretty cool. As a game itself, it's, I don't know, it's hard to say. Like, if this is your only experience with Disney Infinity, if you don't have any interest to play the console version, it's probably not much of a game for you. But if it's something that you're using as I'm not at home to play Disney Infinity and I'm thinking about Disney Infinity and I want to mess around with an idea I have, it's the perfect thing. Creating stuff on the iPad is very intuitive. It's a little bit janky in some ways, like placing objects and stuff is a little bit finicky, but it's good. And the ability for me to kind of rough in a level that I want to make and then go do the details on the console just makes so much sense. Jake Harguth in the chat room is saying this is better than just releasing a game to him. And if this would have been available when he was a child, the ability to play with the games away from the games, it would have been huge. And I agree with that fully. Like, if I was playing, I don't know, Super Mario Brothers, and if I could play a game on my phone, obviously this is a Nintendo property and that would never happen, but let's make pretend. So if I'm playing Super Mario, let's say Super Mario World that has a lot of levels. And then maybe there's this little Tamagotchi-like thing that I had on my iPhone. That would have been awesome. I would have been leveling up and getting coins and extra lives and then bringing it into my game. That obviously wasn't around back then, but that is around now. And there's a whole series of games that are coming out that are going to have mobile kind of companion games. Like, there's GTA 5 just came out, and then there's the iFruit app that you can download on your iPhone, and it's basically a physical version of the stuff that you have in game, the little cell phone you have in game. There's going to be a Watch Dogs companion app that is all free to play on your iPad, which interacts with the actual console version as well. And this is just kind of the breaking the ice a little bit, just kind of chipping away to get in through the ice to the real cool stuff that's inside, that is sure to come in the next little while. But this Disney Infinity thing is pretty damn impressive, and I urge you guys to go check it out. I'm going to give it a 4 out of 5. I really like it. If they could fix some of the bugs, some of the slowdown stuff, some of the weird object disappearing things when it runs out of resources, I guess, it would be much better. But as I said, for right now, I'm going to use it as kind of a little doodle pad to mess around with some levels and then finish them up on the console. And it's pretty damn cool, especially since it's free right now. So even if you're not sure, go download it now for free. And then at least you can get it for free later if you do get Disney Infinity for one of your consoles, or they come out with some other features that are really awesome. So Disney Infinity Toy Box, 4 out of 5.
Yeah, I think I'm going to go download it just in case I decide to get Disney Infinity one day.
Yeah, you might as well. I mean, mess around with some levels. I mean, it's fun to kind of doodle around and noodle around. I kind of wish that I had some way to check it out without all of the stuff that I've unlocked to see just how little stuff is inside of it. If it's even fun to play around with the 50 or 60 blocks that you get. But yeah, it's pretty damn cool. So yeah, Jared, thanks for joining me today.
That was my pleasure.
All right.
I'm not moving my trains around.
Okay, I can't hear train whistles every once in a while, so I didn't know you were doing that.
Maybe. I'm almost out of fuel, though, so I'm going to have to put it away for the night.
Oh,
so.
Just good timing right after you finish a podcast. Awesome. All
Well,
right, guys.
yeah, I would have had not full fuel, but my freaking thing took like 3 hours to update to iOS 7. So, in that 3 hours, I had full fuel, and that got me through the podcast.
Awesome. I'm glad that I'm boring enough that allows you to play your train games to move your pickles around, Jared.
Hey, I'm still listening. I heard everything you had to say about Disney Infinity.
Cool. All right, guys. Thanks for subscribing. We love hearing from you. We love talking to you. Head on over to vgpodcast.com and let us know what you think of the show. You can email us directly at vgpodcast@gmail.com, or you can call our voicemail line, which is area code 505 VG Podcasts. We would be happy to read and answer your questions in future episodes of The Touch of Gaming. Jared, thanks again for joining me.
Thank you, Lloyd, for having me.
All right, guys, we'll talk to you in about a week's time. Take it easy. If you do check out Disney Infinity, let us know what you built. Let us know what you think of it. I'm quite curious to see someone that isn't already addicted to it. That is what their thoughts on the game is, because I play this all the time with my kids and I'm super addicted to it. But so maybe I'm not the right person to talk about a game objectively, because I'm already all in with this property.
Yeah, you're already way too far down that rabbit hole.
I am. All right, guys, take it easy. We'll talk to you in about a week's time.